Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back, 5011 fam. How y'all
96 degrees
is?
in the shade.
It's Jay and D, and we're back for another episode doing what we do, y'all, having conversations that spark conversations.
Yes.
So, this one right here, this is going to be one of those kind of around different places, covering different things type of episodes. Like, this is one of those cozy, sit in, chill, wrap yourself in a blanket type conversations. We are going to be using the question, what if? And we're going to really be just talking about different things in life, some of the conspiracies, because y'all
Yes.
know we love to put our little tin caps on, our little tin fedoras,
Come on,
and
Tin
rock
Cap.
them. So we just thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of 50 Limb Chronicles. So, yes, before we get into this episode, I would think that it's only appropriate we do a little housekeeping. We just come
Little
in
church
and tell you
announcements.
guys, just little church announcements, tell you guys a couple of things that we have going on this half of the season and how we're going to be moving forward. Like, normally we don't come in and tell you like the schedule of things and then how the next few episodes are going to look and upcoming, like we don't usually do that, but I think it's kind of cool because Dee and I have been like in the lab. We've been in the boardroom. We've been
Yes.
taking out our pen and paper, our notepads. We've been doing our sketches,
Come on,
doodling a little
sketches.
bit, you know, doodling a little bit, and just really tapping into that creative energy, that creative force, because we really are looking to grow this platform here. And we
hmm
both, as like a collective, have our wonderful voice and our wonderful energy that we bring. I think that it's exciting what we do just as us, but it's also cool to experience us as individuals too. So we have like
Yes.
something really exciting to announce. We're going to be launching these mini segments within like our 5011 enterprise and network that is
Yes.
growing. So I'll tell you a little bit about mine that's gonna be coming out, and then Dee's gonna tell you a little about hers. And it's just a little like heads up. We'll have like the frequency and when you can expect to see these things soon. We'll have some really cool like things and ways for y'all to tap in and engage with us. So like we're excited about where it's headed. So I'm gonna be creating a little mini segment, guys, that is gonna be called Jay's Safe Space. We're gonna come to the safe space and we're gonna have conversations about all the things. But like for those of you who know me, it's gonna be a little bit everywhere because he's neuro spicy. He sometimes struggles to find himself and find his thought
Yes.
because it's everywhere because there's 9,000 thoughts going on at once. But what's really exciting about having this safe space is we're going to talk about everything from like my new obsession with fragrances to like how I was on my drive to work and broke down in tears of gratitude and where it came from and why it came. So it's going to be a safe space to come and like, talk about, of course, those emotional things, get some of that stuff off our chest. The skin has been clearing up because we are becoming unbothered, but it's
Yes,
also
I'm
going to be a
bothered.
space, come on now. I'm tapping into this unbothered energy and it's just
hmm
everything around me is like, getting progressively better because I'm not worrying. I'm just walking in
Yeah.
faith and I'm just like, it's
Yeah.
gonna be fun. So, like even that, but we're also gonna like key and we're gonna talk about things like, if those of you out there like me who get caught up with the animals, do y'all know anything about Emmanuel the emu? Y'all, I love to watch Emmanuel the emu, and I'm gonna be talking about it. And like I'm gonna be talking about the animals. We're gonna talk about all the things and the things. So that's gonna be Jay's safe space. That's gonna be my little mini segment. Do you tell me about what you got going on, girl?
So for me, we are going to be entering into DT's laboratory. Okay. Come on
Yes.
in with your girl. So for me, I'm like a little nerd. This is going to be like a little pre nerds corner. So we're going to be doing deep dives. We're going to be talking about fun facts. We're going to be talking about conspiracies. We're going to be talking about anime. We're going to be talking about the movies, all of the things that are
Yes.
things, whatever is popping off that we want to do deep dives and research and look into because I love a good documentary. We're going to be
Mm,
doing all of that. And the topics are going to be endless because I watch some of everything and I got opinions about everything.
yes, we love it. Oh, and I love to hear your opinions because I mean, like I'm telling you, you have you have one of those rare minds, like the way that D thinks. Sometimes you'll say
Oh,
something
thank
like,
you.
"Now, literally, I'm like, where did that come from? That was wonderful. Like I was not, it was just brilliant. Like she just says these brilliant things. It just really like pushes me to think differently. So I'm really excited to like tap into that because I just know the things that you're going to come with, and like when I tell y'all, she is a research girl. She is a research
Yes,
girl.
she's a
Like
nerd to the
bibliography.
core.
When I tell you bibliography, literally, we're excited, Paige.
Come on.
So I'm excited to see it. Y'all, we're really excited because we're also going to start doing something else that's going to be a little fun. We're going to be coming in with these little mini reels and mini, videos and all types of things like TikTok. You're going to start seeing us there where we do like our rant of the week, where we talk about what's getting on our nerves this week, what's bothering us this week, or what's just been absolutely excellent. So you get to hear again individual aspects of us. You get to see
Yeah.
us in individual lights, kind of in our day to day energy and essence outside of what we do collectively, which is also,
Hmm.
fabulous in and of itself. So
You'll
we're
see
really
how the
excited.
magic comes together when you get to know us
Yes.
individually.
Yes, yes. Oh my gosh, yes. So that's gonna be fun. Definitely start looking for us to give you those frequencies soon because it's gonna be coming out really soon where we'll start letting you know what days those Jay's safe space and DD's laboratory when
Yes, you got
they
to
come
say it
out.
like that
You
too. You
have
got
to
to
say it
say it.
like
You
that.
can't say it the regular
You can't
way.
DD's laboratory. No, it's not that. No,
No, you
sis,
got
it's
to
not
say
that. It's got to be
laboratory.
laboratory. It's got to be like, and if you can throw a little accent on there, that'd be lovely. We'd
It
appreciate it.
would be perfect.
So,
Otherwise, just don't say it. No,
or
just don't
don't,
care.
but but yes, start looking out for those frequencies. We're gonna have those up soon, and we're just excited for you to see exactly like it's funny because I'm gonna say this super quick and we're gonna get into the topic, but like D and I are talking about it like the things that are like we're planning now and that are coming together now are literally where we've always kind of seen the podcast progressing.
Yeah.
Even like this, you're gonna see a shift in our branding, a shift in like our logo and things like it's going to be something that is just so exciting because as we've
Hmm.
like come to this place, like, oh my gosh, this is what I've like always felt for us. Oh my gosh, this is
We've
exactly
been
how
talking
I
about
thought
this
our
since like
forever.
2016, right?
2016. Yeah. Yeah. 2016. Literally seven, how many years? 8 years later, here we are. And we're like, it's taken this trial run to
Hmm.
really understand like all of the aspects that go into it. And it's exciting because y'all,
And it keeps
we're
getting
getting there
better. So that's why
and
I'm
it just
excited
keeps
for where
getting
we're
better. It's
going.
like fine wine, like fine wine. So, as you know, those are our church announcements. Thank you, praise the Lord, Amen, Ashe, Selah, all of the things,
All the things.
um, all of the things. We put a beautiful little cap on that. So here we are. And it's interesting because like I'm a question person. Like I
Hmm.
love to ask big questions because I also like to like when D and I have these conversations and our other friends, we like to see where these things go. We have deep conversations for no reason. Sometimes it just goes there. But I'm a big question person. Like I'm big on the whys and the hows when it's appropriate for them to be answered and like how we got here and how can we do this again or not do this again. Just like in reviewing our lives, being insightful,
Hmm.
diving in. It's kind of important to ask yourself questions. And I think one of the most wonderful questions I think to exist, this is my opinion, but I think one of the most wonderful questions to exist of all time is what if? Because I feel like no creation, no innovation, no imagination would
Yeah.
happen without this question. Like it's like, ooh, what if, and even from the smallest things, like, ooh, what if we use teal there instead of just regular blue? Like
Right.
what if we use, what if we go sky blue or aquamarine instead of just like the regular blue?
Hmm.
Like if it's also like, what if you have to think about like scientists and innovation, people had to start asking and really continue asking, what if I could do this with it? What if I could make it
Yeah.
this way? What if we can make it easier? What if we can make it, faster? What if we can make people more brilliant? What if we can, oh wow, they got something going on out there. Um, what just like but like I think what if is one of those wonderful questions that when you ask it you can go one of two ways. You can go to a really
Yeah.
great place that helps push you positively, or you can kind of down a little bit. You don't want to get caught in the you don't want to get caught in the wrong
Caught in the
energy of what
rapture.
if, because it's not about being, they say hindsight is 2020, so it's not about being regretful of any act. What if I had done it that way? No, that's the kind of
Yeah.
I think that's not the way that we want to be asking what if. We want to be thinking about what if progressively and in a forward energy. So y'all know D and I love to throw our 10 fedoras and our 10 boleros, and we like to get, our hair did and pop it on there and think about the conspiracies and think about the things of the things. And I have to tell you, Dee recommended this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm always nervous with people recommending movies and shows, not because I'm a critic or anything. It's nothing like
Oh,
that.
oh no, can't be that.
No, no, never, never. I just noticed the wigs. I noticed the wardrobe. You look at the set and you're like, nobody would do that there. That doesn't make sense. I don't nitpick. I don't. I love a good show and I love a good movie, but I still get nervous because I'm like, well, what if like we're on different energies when we watch movies, and what if I just don't like it? And I
Yeah,
don't want to lie. I never want to lie and be like,
no,
oh, it's so
especially not to
good.
me.
Not you don't lie to your friends. You don't lie. You don't lie. I tried my best not to lie. Period. But whatever. That's not the point. There we go. Y'all see, I told y'all. There we go. Okay, but it was this movie called The Boys from Brazil. I think that's what it's
Yeah.
called, The Boys from Brazil. And it's interesting because she and I loved having, like we said, these conspiracy conversations. And it was very, oh my goodness. So this is an older movie, guys. So I don't
It
think
was like
spoiler alert is,
78, I think.
yeah, it's like 78. Yeah, I think 78 is actually, because I was going to say, at first I thought 73, but no, it's definitely 78. This movie is, and actually, Dee, I want you to tell them a little about this movie because you're the one who recommended it. I thought it was fabulous.
Okay,
Um,
so The Boys from Brazil is a movie basically about cloning. It's it's supposed to be based on like true events that occurred where there was a doctor who was a Nazi doctor and he was working on or like practicing cloning Hitler. And so it said that like he went to this town in Brazil and what they were doing in the movie was basically taking unfertilized eggs. They were taking the DNA, they could take like your blood or like a scrape or something from like your skin, and they were taking that DNA, destroying the DNA in the unfertilized egg, and putting Hitler's DNA in that unfertilized egg, and then putting
mm-hmm,
it back in the
mm-hmm,
women. And I
mm-hmm,
think they said they did it like 20 times in the movie. And basically, what it's said to do is like to create these replicas, a complete direct replica. And what they were doing was creating not only the replica people, but they were replicating his life. So they were like
mm-hmm,
killing off the father and like having the same, everything almost had to be the same to try to get this exact same person, which is
mm-hmm.
wild because
It's
it's
absolutely
Hitler.
wild.
Like you pick the worst person you could think of, you'd be like, let's make 20 of those. Like,
Mm-hmm.
why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? And it's also there's an actual town. It's called like Candido Gabodio or something like that. I'm saying it wrong. I'm definitely saying it wrong. But the town in Brazil was known for having twins. And so people kind of speculated that what if that's what they were doing there, because it was appearing to the people like these are just twins. And in the
Mm-hmm.
movie they went from 2 to 3. He's like, wait a minute, so are they triplets? But then they find out what this doctor was actually
What
doing.
was going on? Mm-hmm. The movie, I love so many movies from that era of time, that
Mm-hmm.
like mid 70s, late 70s, mid
Yeah.
80s, that realm. It was something about that filmmaking, that the techniques that they use and the perspectives that were just, I don't know. Looking back on it, it's brilliant. And this was one of those movies that like you definitely get sucked into. You definitely get
Mm-hmm.
pulled into it, especially if you're paying attention. You get pulled into it, and you're just like, I know where this is going. I know where this is going. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's something funny about the formula that they used in that period of time, that it tickles you, but you still watch it play out and you're just like, oh my gosh, I know he didn't. Like, especially towards the end of that movie and they had that fight out. I was
Yes.
not, I was not prepared for the dogs, for the little boy to walk out.
Child, the
Oh, none of
dog
that.
went on a rampage.
The dogs were
I was playing.
red tea, red tea. Literally, the
The
dogs were
dogs was
so
not
on
playing.
1,000. They were standing on business.
The
They were
dogs
standing.
barking alone would make me want to turn it off. Though, like, would y'all shut up? Slow all this barking,
It was,
please.
yeah, they were intense, but it was, and have definitely heard of that twin town. I don't know where I heard of it, but I know a while back, I've heard of that, the town where
Mm-hmm.
they had all of those twins appearing in Brazil, and that's so interesting because it really makes you think. Like, we know that in the past they had cloned the sheep, think there was a whole
Yeah,
thing,
in like
Dolly.
Michigan State or something like that.
Yeah, and I think it was Dolly the sheep, and then she ended up passing maybe
Hmm.
later. But
And this was in the
if we were,
90s,
that's what I'm saying. If that was 30 years ago at this point, okay,
allegedly.
all right, 22 to 30 years ago, that was it was
Yes.
22 to 30 years ago. I mean, think about it. If they were cloning sheep then and they were able to do it, quote unquote, and they were able to successfully do it, we're this far in the future. And if we know where electronics have progressed, if we see where technology has progressed just in the commercial sense, I'm a firm believer that whatever we have and that we are experiencing technologically, the
Yes.
government's I say at least 20, 30, 40 years ahead of us. At
Absolutely.
least. It probably looks more like 50 years ahead of us, but we're going to give a little
They a
grace.
solid generation ahead.
Like
A
it's
solid
legit, literally.
generation.
No, literally, like it's wild. So, I mean, if they've had things like the heart attack gun, and they've had all these other little weapons and
Hmm.
things that we've learned about, what about the things that we haven't learned about? So the thing about
Exactly.
the idea that even if it's not, and we're not going to say, I mean, I'm just saying all governments, especially big governments, there's some form of side eye that many of them need to be given, because
Hmm.
you're not going to tell us everything. You call it
Exactly.
national security, but you're not going to tell us everything, and you're not going to tell us the
I mean,
objectives. And
considering the way the people ran out and bought up all the bread and milk when they heard about COVID, like I don't know what bread and milk was going to do for them, but they
period,
bought up all the bread, the milk, the tissue, random thing, not beans, not canned goods,
not canned goods. No, it was bread,
perishables,
toilet
and
paper,
tissue
paper towels, and bottled water.
and water. But it's like the
Couldn't find
way
them.
you can't say anything and they will just complete people imaginations will just run for them. Mass hysteria. So you really can't tell us everything because
Hmm.
people you would have
That's
people
true.
not even want to go outside
That's
or there
true.
would be
I
mass
think
hysteria.
I think part of that is also the way in which they do it, because if you look at, like, and we've talked about this before, but if you look at news media, there's no reason to continue watching it in most cases.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally panic, panic, panic. There's murder. There's ice. There's everything's coming down. The world's ending.
Yes.
Everybody's over. Like, it's done. It's done. It's
And
done.
it's
You
none
die.
of the
You know,
actual things you need to be concerned about.
you can't eat this. You can't eat that. This is killing everybody. They have, all of the things that are happening, like
Mesothelioma.
in these, like, oh my gosh, please don't get me started on oh my gosh, the meso commercials. I can't. There were so many of them too. I'm like, how many law officers are dedicated to this?
I don't know.
Like,
The mesothelioma didn't told through the girls. They got
ugh,
all the law officers
that.
on the case.
And what's wild? I think that leads into a whole another conversation that we could have about, like, the dangerous conditions they put us in, the dangerous things that they give communities and people and the job force. And years later, here we are looking back. And it's not even just things like, what was the thing that the people were working around? I'm trying to find the word. Oh my gosh, y'all, there's a word. There was this thing that people were working around. It was in the paint, not the lead paints, but it was like in the paint. It was in like the ceilings and stuff. And they were breathing it in. And this would cause a whole bunch of people to get all types of sick. Asbestos. There we go. We got there.
Oh, okay.
We got there. Y'all, I'm telling y'all, it took me a minute
I
to
was
get
like,
there.
what?
I couldn't get there, but okay, asbestos. Like, okay,
I
so
remember that.
but I think about the fact, like, it just makes you wonder, because one of the things that has been on my mind lately is I think about the amount of people that, like, vape.
Mm-hmm.
And vaping is one of those things that I tried it for
I
a second and
never
really
got
couldn't get into
into
it.
it.
It wasn't my thing. I really couldn't get into it.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't really my thing. But I've noticed how, like, all types of people vape. And I
Vaping has
mean,
become like a whole thing,
it's a
like
whole thing. Like,
the
there's vape
thing.
shops. They're like,
And
there's
when I tell
collecting
you the
flavors
people
and
don't let the things go, like people that I know anybody that you know that using, they're going to be glued to their hand, like it just
they always have it
randomly.
on them. And then
Yes.
they can't not do it. Like, I had to tell someone at my job, and I work in the public, they came inside and they were vaping. And I was like, you can't be in here vaping. what are you doing? Sugar, stop it.
When they put it in the vape salon.
That's I'm like, but like, and this is my thing. This is my thing because there's way too many question marks. It hasn't been around long enough, not even maybe 10 years. It hasn't been around long enough for them to know what the long term effects are. I remember the kids were getting jelly lungs or gummy lungs or something a couple years back. And
Ooh,
they were like, you got to stop vaping because it's putting this congealed substance on the kids' lungs. But it's like we don't know, and then the thing about it that makes it so dangerous because I tell you, everybody's got their vice, everybody's got their thing. Mind your business, I mind mine. I get that, but
right.
what's dangerous about it is sometimes people may be a little. They go to places where they think things are going to be legitimate, and because any and everybody is trying to get in the vape game, it's not the same to create vape juice as it is to sell cigarettes. And I'm not condoning cigarettes by any, but I'm
We
telling
are
you that there's a
definitely
whole
not
different
condoning that.
by any means. But I'm giving you a literal example of the kind of thing comparisons. If people could just literally make cigarettes out of whatever and sell them in gas stations in a homemade box or something and be like, oh yeah, these are Lady Jane cigs,
Lady Jane.
It's not as regulated. And because people can come in and just sell whatever, you never know what people or what's actually in that. And you already don't know what's in it. That's what's crazy to me is you already don't know what's in it. So then it's wild. And to me, this is one of those things because I think they're just going to continue doing it because it's totally a sabotaging thing. Like they've been sabotaging people's health since the beginning, like literally since the beginning.
Nothing you eat is safe. Nothing you
nothing
use is safe. Nothing is safe. The air you breathe ain't even safe.
Come on now, you can't even drink the water from your tap if you wanted. Like that's not
God, I
safe.
hope you're not. If you get a Brita picture at the least.
I'm just saying if you
don't be out here
want to.
sipping the tap.
But you can't. You really can't. Especially the further north you go,
It's somebody
you definitely
doing
can't.
it. Somebody out there doing it.
Let me tell you, between the fluoride, which that's what would happen, is you be consuming fluoride because that's what's in a lot of the tap water. Between fluoride, traces of mercury and lead, you will probably grow another ear. Be out here looking
You
wild,
would be out here
really
looking like the
sick.
Last of Us.
I mean, looking crazy. It's just I don't know because we've talked about the whole orchestrated, like the Illuminati, all the organizations and all the things that they do in that sense. But it's just really crazy to me. Like, what if there was no like? I just wonder what life would look like if there weren't like evil people out there pulling the strings.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes it's nice to fantasize a daydream and to get lost in a little, what's the other word I'm looking for? We'll just go with fantasy because I have a whole other word, but I can't. It's not coming to my tongue right now. But it's just wild. I don't know because like as we get older, you definitely start to reflect on it. You definitely start to see these things around you, and it's just like,
or what if it's like
ever?
Attack on Titan and we're just inside of walls, and then one day we're gonna wake up, there's gonna be this huge giant looking at us,
like,
and then there's gonna be giants coming out of walls.
That's a real what if because we've talked
Possibility.
about it is a possibility. At this point, nothing would
Giants did
surprise me.
exist.
Giants definitely
So
did exist.
it's a strong possibility. Like, what if all those glaciers and stuff, and global warming is a thing. It's been happening. What if like the glaciers start melting and things start coming out of there? Things you don't expect.
Things start
Brittany was
waking up.
watching I had Brittany watched Meg too. I don't know if you ever seen the Meg, but
I haven't. I know what it is.
It's good. So in the Meg 2 though, there are dinosaurs in the ocean. Like because they had went down to try to go like look for some more sharks or whatever, and they found dinosaurs. Whole other flip script. And I was telling Brittany, I was like, there is a very, 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 because I've been telling people for the longest, when the ice age happened, just like in the winter when like ice grows thick in like lakes and all this stuff like that, that stuff is only icy so far. There's still water down there. And we
Mm-hmm.
know how deep the ocean goes. The ocean was not frozen completely solid.
Mm-mm.
So you're not going to tell me that, for one, if there were dinosaurs that were on, they were everywhere. There were dinosaurs that were on land. There were dinosaurs that were flying. Alligators and crocodiles, in my, that's primitive
Mm-hmm.
dinosaurs in the water.
For sure. For sure.
Like, and you don't know what survived, what down there, what adapted to survive, what bred with what. It's a very, very, very strong possibility that there are dinosaurs in the ocean. And we
Mm-hmm.
just don't know because we can't get there. We can't, most people, the average person ain't going that deep in the ocean.
At
So,
all. And again, it's one of those things, it literally is a possibility because we don't know what all is in the ocean. We don't know what all is in there. We might know how deep it is. We might have, certain understanding of it. But I
mm-hmm.
also think about that like because I still connect it back to Genesis and that we did that in the whole episode, but I still connect it back to like how everything was water before,
Yeah.
things came to be and how much alike being in space and being in water are. And the being in space in anti-gravity
Mm-hmm.
situations, I put quotes around that, guys. I just
Because
realized y'all
ocean
couldn't see
is
that.
space.
Ocean is
Like,
space.
ocean
Ocean
is
is
space.
space. I don't know because I've seen. I don't know if you've seen. I can't remember what the map is called, but there's this map. It shows the world in a different perspective. It shows the universe in a different perspective,
Mm-hmm.
and they have the idea that beyond the ice, that is, north, south pole, beyond the ice are the other lands, the other aspects of space, the other
Yeah.
worlds, the other dimensions. We have ways to connect to them that way, and that there are little openings in the ice that lead to those. And I just find that so interesting to think about because if that were true, we would never find out. Not unless
Because
not
that's
unless we got
how
to a
it was
point.
on Attack on Titan. It was like those people that were in those, they had no idea. They were on an island,
Mhm.
essentially. Those people had no idea that there was a whole, they didn't even know what an ocean was, for one, and they had no idea that there was a whole other world across this ocean. There was
Mhm.
land and people that were nothing like them across this ocean that they had no knowledge of. And it's like, what if on a broader scale that's us? Because those people in the anime, those people, like the king had wiped out their memories, so they didn't have any memory
Mm.
of the previous, what the world was like before.
Right.
So it's like, what if, like, on a global scale that happened to us? And then there's like
That sounds
beyond the
like great
ice,
reset
there's
theory
this
to me.
whole other world
That sounds like
that we have
great
no
reset theory
idea
to me.
about.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's just interesting when you really sit and begin to ponder these things and just think about the possibilities. And it's again not to overwhelm yourself in them, but it's like just to let your mind kind of wander. And it's like, that's interesting.
Even in the
So,
concept of aliens, because it's like, if you
mm,
think about it, even how they depict aliens in movies and stuff, they're like human, but something else. And it's
hmm
usually like, and sometimes it's like some type of water creature. They like are usually that and like humaness. But if you think about it, they always have like a different color blood and other stuff like that. But if we were in space, and if I cut you in space, you would bleed blue, just like the aliens
right.
in the movie. So who's
hmm
the alien? And it's like, how far removed are we from these other species?
Ooh, you know what? Okay, so we're gonna take a super quick break. I heard something the other day that I'm gonna connect back to that on the other side of this
Okay.
break. So, okay, we'll be right back. So I was watching this video, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in it, they were talking about this girl. It's this girl. She's a TikToker, and I need to find her name because I've seen her quite a bit. But she does little like conspiracy things, especially as it relates to Black people and the diaspora and things like that. So she was talking about what if Black people were actually green, and was
Mm-hmm.
talking about the connection because there's a connection between melanin and chlorophyll and how similar they are, like how essentially melanated beings to a sense do this form of photosynthesis. Their melanin reacts in the sun
Mm-hmm.
similar to the way that chlorophyll reacts in the sun. And she said,
Mm.
what if? She said the only difference between us and plants is that in plants, I think she said in plants, magnesium is present, and in us, it's iron. I think that
Mm-hmm.
was one was iron and one was magnesium. And I think it was like that, the relationship between what was in our our melanin versus the chlorophyll. Like chlorophyll had magnesium and the melanin had iron in it. And she said, what happens to iron when it is exposed to oxygen? Iron oxidizes, it goes
Yeah,
brown.
it does.
It goes brown. But she said, have you ever heard about Black children being born green? And people have talked about when little African American babies are born, some of them have a green hue to them for a few days. And that
Mhm.
literally it's because our skin has to adjust essentially to the oxygen. And that's why our skin oxidizes. So that if we weren't in an
Yes,
oxygenated environment, there's the potential our skin could be green.
that is crazy.
That's so wild because they were basically like plant people. So I
Yeah.
found that very interesting. I was like, oh, wow, now that's a really cool theory because I'd never thought about that. But it's even like how when we view, even in my chocolate behind, when I view my veins, if I can see
Hmm.
my veins running through, they appear green.
Hmm.
It looks like it's a green tint on my skin. And it's interesting because she was just like, do you guys see do you now see the correlation? Do you now see the parallel? And I was like, girl, I see it. It's there. I
Listen,
see
because
it.
let me find out that that's why they was mad, that we was really not from here. And that's how we got all the tea on the math and the science. And we was trying to be nice, teaching the people all the things and the things. And they was mad because we was running stuff. We was dipping and doing it. We had all the
Hmm.
resources on our land. And then they said, no, 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 we cannot have this. We
Hmm.
cannot have this. They cannot be running things. We are going to legalize slavery of everybody that looked like them.
Right.
That's
Of
literally
everybody that look like
that's
them. That's
literally
literally
what
what
they
happened.
said.
That's literally what happened.
Like, they
We need
was
to build
hating
this land up too. Let's go
literally
ahead and bring them on over here.
all of these years of oppression just because somebody was hating. Somebody was mad. They was hating. They was salty.
But I mean, that's
Crazy.
always even since then, that's always been the story. It's always
This
been
is
the
also
story.
true.
It is the
Somebody be
universal
mad. Somebody
story. It
be
is the
hating
universal trial.
instead of being in their
It's
own lane.
it's bonkers. I don't know. Like as I've gotten older, I think what if is just one of those questions that's been really big to me because to do a little bit of I guess it's really a whole shift. But I was having this conversation with my therapist, Debbie, and it was a while back, and I think I was having like a bit of a spiral. I was just something was going on, and I was working for this job that eventually ended up going bankrupt, and it was a whole trial in and of itself. But I remember just having this conversation with her, and I was kind of spiraling. Like, well, what if I just mess everything up? And what if this happens? And what if this happens? And what if this? And all of my what ifs, I was just kind of spiraling. I literally
Mhm.
was going to this space, and she stopped me. She said, "Jack, have you ever considered asking yourself, what if I can't get this wrong? What if I actually get it right? What if I actually succeed at it? What if I actually do well?" And it was one of those shifts in my mentality. That was a
Mhm.
shift in mentality that needed to happen for me because I'd always been kind of a worry wart and would worry about what if this goes wrong? What if this doesn't
Yeah.
happen the way that I want it to? And it's interesting because even connecting it to conspiracies, there are things about energy they don't want us to know, and there are things about energy they don't want us to understand. And I've realized that the more I worry and I stay in that space of that low vibrational thinking, then my life kind of looks low vibrational. Like it
We're
kind of stays there.
co-creators.
We
That's
are.
why.
And the thing about energy is it transfers to your environment what you believe, what you
Hmm.
continue to tell yourself, and that
Hmm.
mantra you continue to repeat is
It
what you're
becomes
going to
your
manifest.
reality.
It becomes your reality. And I would always say to people that the second you change your mentality, you'll change your reality. But it's literally sometimes it takes a question. Sometimes it takes a conversation. Sometimes it takes you just breaking down in tears and
Yeah.
having had enough. And for me, I'm just grateful for that question because that was a question that now I ask myself that question all the time. I'm like, oh, what if I can't get this wrong? What if I actually get this right when I do it? Like, what if this
Exactly.
idea is actually brilliant? What if that was actually a purely divine conversation and I'm on the right track? What if today I changed somebody's life? If there's a whole another way you can look at it. And I don't know, that's been my big what if in life that has just kind of helped me start changing the way that I live and living like this
Yeah.
is fantastic. It's fantastic. I love it.
Come on. I love it.
I love it.
I love it for you.
Yes. And I honestly like, I don't know. That's even like for me for the culture moment. is like, I don't think enough of us really sit and ask ourselves those deeply insightful questions too, because many of us actually have grown quite a bit. Like if you
Hmm.
really just sit and look at your life and look at what you were 10 years ago, sometimes you can see like, dang, I'm a whole different person. Like
Yeah.
I was a whole different person.
Man, I love that feeling because I be feeling
Hmm.
that now of like, man, like I've really like healed a lot. I really like transcended a lot. I've really been like really proud of the work that I've been doing, even though I'm not nowhere near where I envisioned or where it's going. And it's that I
Hmm.
think that's the thing that is hard. It's like when you know where you're going, it gets hard to be grounded where you are because you're
Hmm.
so ready to get to where you know you going, where you know
Hmm.
it's gonna be. Like you can't wait to see that part. But it's like that's one thing that I've been working on is like being present and kind of just going with today and what I can control right now. Because sometimes when you get so excited about the future, you kind of get ungrateful about what's going on in the
About
present.
yes, yes, yes. Oh my gosh. Literally, I had this moment talking to the divine. And I was just telling God, all of the things that I know I can do and I want to be available to do. And it was so interesting that you said that because I just remembered in that moment I was getting so excited about the things that I know I'm going to do. And I was like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and I said, but God, I want to stop and I want to make sure I'm so grateful for this moment, this very present moment. Like I'm not so caught up in the future and how bright and exciting it is that I can't see that the present is really that girl. She's rocking right now. She's really priming me because if it weren't for what's happening in the present, I wouldn't be able to get there. I wouldn't be
Yeah.
able to get to the place I want to be in. I don't know. I just love it. We love a little growth.
That's why I don't know if you've noticed, I've been in like a very mellow space the last few days where I
Hmm.
just kind of been like here, just floating,
Hmm.
just here. Because my spirit is just like, let's just be. Like
Yeah.
I was tired of thinking about the future. I was tired of planning for the
Yes.
future. I was tired of
Yes.
future. I just was like, I just want to just be. Let
Be.
me just be.
There's so
And
much
I've been
peace in
just
that.
being for the last few days. Like when I got off work, I was like, because even when we talked that day, and you was telling me all the things that you had going on and all the stuff like that, and then you was like, okay, so what about you? I was like, I'm just happy to be here.
Yes.
I
That's
didn't think of
exactly what you
nothing
said.
because I was just like, I'm just happy to be here. I'm just here.
Hmm.
But that's because my spirit is just like, I'm just here. I just want to just be for a little while.
Hmm.
I think I've been like stressing myself so much about making sure everything and making sure I'm
Hmm.
doing something and working towards da 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 da. Just
Hmm.
and I'm just like I'm tired. I just want to just be.
Look, I think the word of the week is rest. I
Yes.
think it's really that because I think that's part of just being, and it's like when we're so like future minded,
Hmm.
which is not a bad thing. We're not,
No.
we're not ragging that. We're just saying that at the same time, when we are so actively future minded, I think we actually begin to exhaust ourselves. Like, because
Hmm.
it takes a lot of emotional and mental energy to
Yes.
picture the life that you know you're going to have. To manifest those things takes a lot of energy. And if you're doing that and also doing the physical things that are your day to day in
Hmm.
your life, and it is a lot. We exert a lot of energy, and I don't and many of us are conditioned to be machines. We're conditioned to be like, I got to
Yes.
push through, I got to truck, I got to just keep going, I got to keep going, I got to keep going. But sometimes it is necessary to have a day, an hour, or whatever to just stop and just be. It
Hmm.
might be a
And
couple
just
days, it
be.
might be a week. Like that's
Because
what
I'm like, I
vacations
didn't
are
even
supposed
have
to
the
be.
energy to give. I was just like, child, I'm just happy to chat with you.
Yes, I love it.
Excited for all the things you're excited about.
That has been the current, like, I think that's a really good energy because I mean, again, I'm
Hmm.
learning now the importance of resting. I hung out with Shakita and Rachel recently, and I was telling them like, oh my gosh, y'all, like, I think I've started learning how to like actually rest, like what that really is, like not going to sleep. Sleeping is its own thing, and I've chilled with friends, but like actually resting, it for me. I'm not used to actively doing that.
Yeah.
I always feel like in the moment that I rest, if I'm doing something, like maybe it's watching a movie or watching a show, and that's my chill, I still feel like I kind of need to be doing something. So I'm like, I'm gonna
Hmm.
organize. I'm gonna organize this really quick. I'm gonna type up this email super quick while this movie is on. And it's counterproductive because I'm still like working. You're
Yeah.
still working, but I'm learning. Like I had this moment and I've started actually kind of tapping into these things lately. And like my TV was on and I wasn't really watching it, but I wasn't actively doing anything. I was just kind of like chilling. And then my eyes like kind of glazed over. And I just kind of chilled for like, and I was like,
Hmm.
I felt like I was sleeping, but I wasn't asleep.
He was
And I
just
was like,
chilling.
I had this moment where I just like snatched myself out of it. I was like, oh, 1 minute, I wasn't asleep though. Was I resting? Is that resting? I really like this. This feels good. That was not, and I got up and I was like, I'm so energized. I can take on the world. It was just, it was the craziest thing. But I began to, it was crazy and it was sad at the same time because I began to realize that I only knew how to, like, I can fall asleep, drop of a hat. It's not,
Mhm.
the kid gets sleep. Like, that's not a thing. He
And
sleeps.
see, I'm not. I get downloads at night. Shout out to the people who get their downloads at night.
I get
Spiritual
mine in my
radio.
sleep. Let me tell you, I wake up. And let me tell you, I can follow. I went on the shortest road trip today to run an errand, and we only went an hour and a half. And I had the pleasure of being in the back seat. I slept for 45 minutes. It
Oh,
was
that's right.
so wonderful, and I was just like, oh my goodness. But I can sleep, but I haven't always been the best at actually resting, and actively resting now and actively tapping into this unbothered energy simultaneously. These things are happening in my life at the same time. When I tell you I've leveled up,
Hmm.
it feels really good to be in that kind of place. Like it's a really good energy. And it's like, what if sometimes people walk around with like a frown and they don't be like the happiest people to deal with, but what if you just need to rest? What if you just need to sit your ass down for 6 hours and just like, or 6 days or a month? Maybe you need to use some of that PTO or that,
Yeah.
that paid
And that's
leave
what I
that you
need is
got.
like a real, like, just complete unbothered, don't,
Hmm.
because I ain't gonna say I haven't done nothing, but because I feel like I haven't got to the space where it's like I just can't go one day and just do nothing without being like, you
Yeah,
ain't even did
it's
that
tough.
today.
Hmm.
The
Hmm.
thought is gonna pop up in your head, but I need like, and I think that's the reason why my spirit is already in this space of like I'm just here because my spirit is like, girl, we just need a day or two to just don't nobody talk to me, don't nobody look at me, don't nobody breathe.
Hmm.
I can just sit inside of a space with me and some spiritual herb and some good food and be
Hmm.
completely unbothered.
Unbothered.
Your phone on do not disturb.
Uh,
Like completely.
it's
Like
so nice.
that is what I want right now. That is what
Hmm.
I need.
Hmm.
That is the space that I am in. So I'm slowly manifesting it by embodying it in little moments throughout my days.
Yes, we love that. We love that. But yeah, y'all, I think this has been such a lovely conversation. Of course, we got to do our little 1-2 and get into some of our
Shall we
conspiracies,
just
but
be talking?
we just be talking.
Just be
That's what it
talking.
is. We just be talking.
That's
And
why
we're
it's
just
Fifty
glad
Level
y'all tapped
Chronicles,
in
because we just be
because
talking.
it's what? Say it again for the kids in the back. Literally,
Right.
conversations that spark conversations. And honestly, I think somebody out there is listening and needs to begin to ask them questions like, what if, what if I can't get this wrong? What if
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually, what if I'm,
What if
I
I
just need to sit.
succeed?
What
What
if
if
I
it goes
succeed?
right?
What if I need to rest? Like I just I think that, asking questions and getting into the things, but also do your research. We say that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much going on right now around us. Please be watching. Please be looking,
Yes.
seeing the things of the
And
things.
stop underestimating your power.
Come on
Because
now.
y'all be underestimating and y'all be giving it away to other things. And you need to remember you are the
Hmm.
co-creator.
Come on now. Yes. Ooh, that's a word right there. You are the co-creator. I love that. Guys, this has been another episode of the 5011 Chronicles. We're going to see you again
Yeah.
next Wednesday. Start looking out these messages, y'all. I'm telling you, we're about to have, Jay's Safe Space. We're about to have
Yes.
Didi's
DiDi's
Laboratory.
Laboratory.
We're about to have, our rant of the week, our rave of the week, whatever is going on. We're about to get
You
into this. So engage with us. Yes.
name
I can't. I can't. This has been the 50 Chronicles. Peace, and we'll see you next week.